Welcome back to the Ringer Gambling Show. I'm your host, Tate Frazier, and we got a special show. We got Joe House in the place to be. House, this is a long time coming, man. Great to see you.
Tate, we both have shows on this stream, and we're with our esteemed colleagues at various. Somehow or another, you and I are very rarely together. I don't know why that is. Why are they doing this? That's right. I think it's because they're worried that we will get on here and it'll just turn into a golf show. We'll take all of the time that we have together. We both love basketball, deep hoop heads. You own the college game. I love the NBA game. But really what we drives us is the golf.
Yeah, we love the golf. But we're going to talk NBA. We're going to talk college basketball. We'll get to golf at the end of the show. So it's kind of the perfect, diet for you and I to get into all the things that we know and love. We got some track to the futures we'll get to as well. But let's start with the NBA.
The Ringer Gambling Show is brought to you by FanDuel. The football season is over, but things are only getting started on the court. FanDuel is the number one choice for same-game parlays, live betting, and more during the NBA season. And don't forget, with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app now and play your game. You must be 21 or older and present in select states, or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut.
Let's hit some headlines, because this is kind of a fascinating one, House, and I'm going to get your thoughts on this. LeBron James, 43,000 points, obviously number one all-time in the NBA, an insane number. And right now we have three active guys who are in the top 25 as far as scoring is concerned. We have Kevin Durant, who's at 6, looking at Michael Jordan, staring him down, trying to get in the top 5. We got Russell Westbrook, who's still out there with Sacramento, who's knocking on the door. And we have Steph Curry. So those are the three active guys. But the question is simple. Do we think we'll ever see anybody get to this absurd number that LeBron James has been able to post during his career?
I'll say this as respectfully as possible. No effing way. No chance whatsoever. Definitely not during my lifetime. Possibly during your lifetime, if they come up with enough longevity drugs to let you live till you're 150. If there is somebody on earth that has a chance to do this, that person is still a wee child. There isn't anybody in the high school ranks or the college ranks or the pro ranks that has any chance whatsoever of touching this, in my humble estimation.
I'm right there with you. It does feel like Kevin Durant maybe could be someone if he has like 10 more years of averaging 30 points a game, but I don't foresee that being the case at this point. And, I think it's, props to LeBron James. He was able to do this, set the mark, and nobody else is going to have this type of longevity as far as you and I are concerned. So we'll tip our caps to LeBron, right?
That's it. I mean, this is why when my kid, who's 15 years old, indulges in the nonsense around who is the GOAT, when I say, you know what, I will let you talk about LeBron in the same context as Michael Jordan, because he is a one of one in terms of his durability, his longevity, his impact, sustained impact on the game for 20 years. Nobody has done that before, and I don't think anybody will do that again. I'll indulge it, but don't you dare ever say that he's above Mike. Don't even dream of saying that man is above Michael Jordan. I just want to make it clear to my kid.
You said it, I didn't. I'm glad I didn't have to say anything. So I appreciate you, making the argument. And also, look, everybody has their own version of the GOAT. We've heard some insane GOATs. Paul George is probably the most insane one I've ever heard. But let the kids do what the kids want to do.
That's
they like
right.
A guy,
it's fair.
If LaMelo's the GOAT, LaMelo's the GOAT. I don't know. I'm not going to argue.
He's definitely not the GOAT of driving in Charlotte, North Carolina. Keep that man away from a car. Lord have mercy. Tate.
Come on, get a driver, LaMelo. I think
get a driver. What are we doing?
Yeah.
You can't terrorize the good folks of Charlotte. They support you. You ought not to be crashing into them.
Yeah, Uptown Charlotte, not safe when LaMelo's on the streets, but hopefully, and it sounds like everyone's all okay, so that's good. Let's talk about some guys who are not okay right now. The Phoenix Suns, Booker is out 1 week. We have Dillon Brooks, that fracture in his hand. They showed him on the sidelines. I mean, it was a painful-looking situation for Dillon Brooks. He's been the heartbeat of this team. We got Ishbia tweeting at Bill about how, much he loves this Phoenix Suns team. How worried are you, House, right now with this Phoenix Suns injury situation?
Yeah, so the interesting thing around the All-Star break was taking a look at each conference and trying to assess not only sort of the seeding order, but really at the bottom of each conference, what teams have a chance at making the playoffs. And as the All-Star break arrived, Phoenix, I thought, could legit make a run at 6. I thought they had a small chance at catching the Lakers ultimately, because I think the Lakers are in some trouble here down the stretch, in the sense that their schedule gets really tough. It's backloaded so that they can get lots of primetime games. We want to see LeBron on primetime. If you look at the teams that they have to play and these primetime opportunities, Lakers could be going in the downward direction, and I've certainly gambled on it. I bet the under on, I think it was 49.5. Great number. Bill Simmons and I talked about that last week on his show. But the bummer is now the Phoenix Suns are not only are they sort of in a precarious position in terms of maintaining where they are in the play-in, they might be on their way out, because Dillon Brooks and Booker together, that just isn't a feasible, reasonable way to make the playoffs. I do have a wager out there that contemplates the Golden State Warriors missing the playoffs, because I do think that they're, the incentives don't run in favor of them playing their butts off to get to the 8 seed. And the Clippers making it in. Well, this Suns situation now makes it that much more likely for the Clippers to make their way in. And the Clippers are possibly the weirdest team in the NBA. What are they doing and why? I don't know, but they are playing very hard. And their game over the weekend against the Magic, nip and tuck all the way to the very end. So Clippers in the playoffs, Warriors out. And I'm sorry to see this Phoenix Suns situation. They might be out also.
Yeah, it is trending in the wrong direction. I did want to quickly talk about the Clippers because it is fascinating out here. I mean, Kawhi Leonard, he had that just apex moment right in the All-Star weekend where he was just like, I'm the best player in the world. And we all kind of had to do the, what is happening here with Kawhi Leonard? He follows it up by saying they're not a contender. He also lets Benedict Mathurin take a game-winning shot instead of himself, which was a little bit odd as well. So, like, I don't think they're the most confounding group of basketball players we've ever seen assembled. And you throw in the Chris Paul of it all this season, just very strange, House. I don't know what to do with them.
Confounding is the word, because it's not apparent what they're trying to accomplish by way of the trades of Harden and Zubac. Zubac was the one that really confused me, because that dude, he was the anchor of the defense, the pick and roll. You could see
a fan favorite too. Like everybody loves him. Yeah.
And whenever Garland returns, Garland and Zubac could have worked. The talent is there for the Clippers. And you said apex moment for Kawhi. We've had apex 2 months, apex 10 weeks. He's the best player in the NBA on really both ends over the last 10 weeks or so. It's been vintage Kawhi, like, don't you forget about me Kawhi kind of performance. And he dragged this Clippers team moribund, dead, as Christmas arrived. As December arrived, and all the way up until they're damn near 500. And all of the metrics, have squeezed down to the version of the Clippers that we thought might win 50 games this season. I'm going to lose that bet. I thought they were going to win 50 games this season. I like their roster. I like Ty Lue. But I don't know what the hell's going on.
I just know that nobody wants to see him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like that's the same story every single season, right? We talk about the playoffs. They're like, watch out for the Clippers, right? They're a dark horse team. And then usually there's some sort of Kawhi injury that takes them out of the conversation. But I like the Mathurin pickup. And the reason they got Mathurin is because of Zubac going to obviously the Pacers. And that brings us to Halliburton. We got him diagnosed with shingles, which is like the adult version of chickenpox, basically. Not playing anyway. But this has become a story house. And like, how much do we need to know this story? It feels a little invasive, at least in my opinion, when he's not playing.
Why is it a story? I don't really understand. He's young to get it. Like, you're supposed to get shots to not get shingles when you get to be my age. And I got my shots. I mean, I don't want shingles. People who get shingles say it's very unpleasant, but it's not like it's life threatening. It's just an unpleasant chickenpox like kind of condition. Why is this news even?
Yeah, I don't get it. When I saw that, I was like, let's let Halliburton deal with this in his own private time. Let's worry about the Achilles and him getting back. And also,
that's all.
Just look at these mock drafts. I mean, they're going to get one of these top 5 guys in the draft. I mean, they're going to get a player, and who knows? It could be a Caleb Wilson, a Kingston Flemings, right? There's a lot of guys that are in the mix for them that going to be really good for the Indiana Pacers. So you can spin it forward in a positive way. Right.
The Pacers. I went to Wizards Pacers on Friday night, and it was back to back. With the Wizards hosted the Pacers on back to back nights here in Washington D.C. after the All-Star break. I have no idea why, but there were on the basketball court a number of names and faces that you probably will not see as regulars. But I was reminded. So TJ McConnell did play the game that I attended. Jay Huff played the game I attended. Ben Shepherd played the game that I attended. Kobe played the game. There was like enough of the guys that will be important role players next season. I was reminded of the depth, because what I really got to see was the depth of the Indiana Pacers. Like, none of their frontline guys played, but wait till next season. They could be really interesting.
Yeah, they're going to be really good. They're going to bounce right back. And it's kind of like the perfect level of tanking that's happening. And of course, that's a topic of conversation always in the NBA. Another topic of conversation in the NBA always, Bill Simmons and his specials on FanDuel. If you go to FanDuel right now, you can find some of Simmons' specials and some fascinating ones. Some that are already like kind of glaringly there for the taking, right? Timberwolves over 49.5 regular season wins. I feel good about that. But then there's some interesting ones there at the bottom that maybe you can find some value. And it's a little near and dear to my heart. We brought up LaMelo earlier. Hornets to make the playoffs, Hawks to miss the playoffs. That's plus 152. Do you like that one, House? Because I'm kind of eyeing that one just in my own personal bank account.
So I do like it, and I talked this one through with him. The thing about it is the 4 out of the 5 teams in the Southeastern Conference are live to make the playoffs. It's very bizarre the way the East is playing out. At the bottom, exactly where you would expect them, Miami and Charlotte and Atlanta are vying for like the 7-8 seeds. Also in that mix is Orlando, because Orlando has greatly underperformed this season. Once again, a season where they can't get any of their guys healthy at the same time. Their best lineup plays no minutes together because Franz Wagner and Paolo and Suggs can't be healthy at the same time for that Magic team. So they're just chronically underperforming. But as we looked at this and looked at some of the, advanced metrics or supporting the run that the Hornets especially have been on, and the other most confounding team to me in the entire NBA is the Atlanta Hawks. I never know night to night what the hell is going on with them in terms of on both sides of the ball. And really, at the end of it, it's a chemistry experiment that we're kind of watching in real time, it feels like to me. I like the acquisitions by the Hawks in the offseason, bringing in Porzingis and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. It made a ton of sense. Felt like there was going to be a lineup. I even agreed with the idea of moving on from Trae Young. But they
good for the Wizards.
Are super good for the Wizards. I'm thrilled for Trae Young to be here. I don't know who they are, and they can lose to anybody on any given night, and they can beat anybody on any given night. Confounding to me.
A very strange team, and you kind of like they're just kind of at this weird crossroads where you're like, which direction is Atlanta going? I mean, are they resetting the foundation, or do they like kind of the parts that they have in place? And also, they get the pick from the Pelicans, right? With the Derek Queen trade. So I mean, they're going to get a guy, Mikael Brown, whoever it may be, is going to be in that spot. So they might get another franchise guy. So Risa Shea hasn't quite worked out, but
nice luxury. I mean, that was one of the toughest drafts of recent memory, right? Where the top guys were Risa Shea and Sarr, and Stephon Castle will probably end up being the best guy in that draft. I'm not sure if I'm forgetting somebody that's further down that's performing well and exceeding. Klingon's been fine, but yeah, I don't. They gambled on Risa Shea. He's still so crazy young. You can't give up hope on him yet, but like, who the hell is this Hawks team and what are they doing?
Yeah, it's also, it's tough when you look at the number 1 picks since like 2019. I mean, I guess Zion's a little bit questionable at this point, but Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham, it just feels like every Wemby, right? It just feels like every year there's been a transformative player.
Lord.
Yeah, my goodness. So not great in that sense. They just kind of get a bad draw, but I think Risa Shea is going to be a pro for a long time. So hopefully they can find a way to use him in the right way. Let's get the Tuesday games. We got Knicks at Cavs. Knicks trying to sweep this series. Cavs minus 3.5. Over under set at 229.5. Who do you like in this game, and why do you like them, House?
Yeah, I'm on the Cavs here. This is a tough situation for the Knicks. It's third game in 4 nights. We watched them come all the way back from a giant deficit. This is the Knicks team in 2025-26 this season, where they dig giant holes for themselves and then manage to just whittle their way back into games and then grab victory from the jaws of defeat at the end with Houston Rockets on Saturday night. Everybody got to watch it. And then they very quietly went to Chicago and had to take on the Bulls on the road Sunday night. So this Tuesday night game going into Cleveland, it just is a tiny bit asking too much, in my humble opinion. I like Cleveland to bounce back. Cleveland was also in a bad spot in the nationally televised game against Oklahoma City Thunder, playing at noon on a Sunday in the same kind of 3 games in 4 night situation, and playing, in the early part of the day, which is always crazy weird. They outscored the Oklahoma City Thunder, who were undermanned, over the course of the remaining 3 periods. They had 10 effing turnovers in the first quarter because they're playing at effing noon on a Sunday. And so that was a nice opportunity to jump on Oklahoma City. But I think Cleveland bounces back, holds their own. I don't mind laying the 3.5, and I also have them in a certain best bet coming up later on the show.
Yeah, both teams 8-2 in their last 10 games, so they've been playing some good basketball. Obviously, a revamped Cleveland team, and if the Cavs win this game, they'll be tied in the standings with the Knicks. Knicks would have the tiebreaker, obviously, but again, moving in the right direction. 2 interesting teams in the East, and let's talk about another team that's very interesting in the East with the Jason Tatum thing kind of hanging over them. Celtics at Suns. We talked about some of the Suns injury issues. Suns +7 in this game, over under set at 210.5. Who do you like in this one, and why, House?
Yeah, I'm not going to mess around with the number. I liked it better. It opened 6 and went to 6.5, now up to 7. The Celtics team has really taken on the identity of their head coach, and the way that they play hard defensively night in and night out. And Bill Simmons has had to come up with a different nickname for Joe Mazzulla. He can't call him Back Row Joe anymore, because the dude, you can just see it come through. Again, speaking of nationally televised games, we watched that Celtics team go into Los Angeles and pull down the Lakers' pants in front of everybody on TV. And it was a defensive intensity. They held the Lakers to under 100 points offense. The Lakers with LeBron and Luka and Reeves, that's supposed to be the team. And we're supposed to see this offensive cohesion. They can't score 100 points against the Celtics. This Celtics team is legit for real. And I hate that it's a depleted Suns team, but I think the Celtics get it done.
I'm right there with you. Also, Peyton Pritchard playing some good basketball. There was a lot of hoopla around Caitlin Clark getting compared to Peyton Pritchard, and I feel like Pritchard has taken that a little bit personally with his response with the way he's playing right now. And Joe Mazzulla, like you said, in the offseason, I remember Jaylen Brown telling the story. He called him and Derek White and was just like, I love that everybody's out on us. You know what I mean? So, like, that's sort of where Joe Mazzulla likes to live, in a very chip-on-the-shoulder, doubted universe, and he tends to thrive there. There is a fun market on FanDuel. There's a Jason Tatum tab, and they have Jason Tatum's method of first basket in his regular season premiere. I think this is interesting, House. I mean, the favorite is a 3-point field goal at +190, layup +380, free throw +470, a dunk is +1600. I'm going to go with the dunk +1600, House. I think that sends a statement, right? He gets a fast break, gets a dunk, gets everybody excited, and gets Boston fans believing they can make a run this year in the East. Do you like that? Do you like a little value there on Tatum?
Well, they're going to get him a touch very early, right? You would expect that there will be a point. It'll be a point of emphasis in the game plan to let the man get his feel for the game. You have to play dunk at that number, because it could be he misses his own first shot near the basket and then just goes right up with the offensive rebound and dunks it at 16-1. You must play that. But I like something where, he gets into that mid-range and just kind of, that very comfortable spot where he arches back a little bit, gets a nice clean look at it. Little Jason Tatum fadeaway. Yeah. That would be my number 1 pick, but you have to have something on dunk.
Yeah, I like dunk. I just think that's, the best way to send a message that your Achilles is okay. And again, he's trying to fight against the ghost of Kobe Bryant and his injury return timeline, which I'm not sure why that's such a big deal, but apparently it is to Jason Tatum, and he's trying to get back on time. So there you go. That'll be fascinating. House, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk some college basketball. Does that sound good? I know that's a little bit more my wheelhouse, but I hope you're ready.
Because I just started paying attention to college basketball again once the NFL finished up. And I want you to take me on a little bit of a tutorial here. I've been watching this Houston team and losing money on them, so I want you to help me out.
I'll do my best. We'll work through it all. We'll take a quick break. When we come back on the Ringer Gambling Show, we'll talk some college basketball. Stay tuned, and we'll see you on the other side of the break. Welcome back to the Ringer Gambling Show. I'm your host, Tate Frazier, here with Joe House. And as promised before the break, we got some college basketball to talk. House, you mentioned it. Super Bowl ends. All eyes turn to college basketball and golf, and golf.
Yeah.
But we're locked in on college basketball as well. We got number one, or former number one now, Michigan taking on Duke this past weekend. Now Duke is the number one team in the country. Did you catch this game, House? And did you have any thoughts on it? Was this your first time seeing Cam Boozer? And what were your thoughts, your first impressions of Cam Boozer?
So I actually have been watching a ton of Duke because I quietly became a huge Boozer fan while he was in high school.
There you go.
That the run up to the college ranks, that high school team that he was on was a once in a lifetime. I mean, it was an incredible team, and had incredible teammates. So I was very curious to see how it translated. And I watched him play his first game and immediately bet Duke to win the national championship, to win the ACC, and to be in the Final Four at the odds that were available back in that October-November timeframe, because I think he's just unbelievable talent, the poise that he has, and his inside-outside game. So I watched the entirety of that Michigan-Duke game. That was that was a classic, like old-school knockdown drag out. I felt like I was being transported back to the 80s, the way that game kind of played out. Even with the 3-point shooting, neither team really got it going from three. So it was a lot of inside play, and the team with the more physical presence inside won that game. Give me your breakdown of that one.
Yeah, well, we got Lindeborg versus Boozer, right? This is the Wooden Award matchup. Two best players in the country on arguably the two best teams in the country. And Lindeborg comes out 5 for 5 in this game, sending a bit of a message, right? Like, I'm here. You have to acknowledge me. Boozer's kind of the runaway favorite at this point. Look at all the metrics. Kim Pom, obviously, he's a Kim Pom darling. The thing about Boozer is he's just steady Eddie. I've compared him to Hansbrough a little bit, and I know Duke people don't like that, but he is just kind of one of those guys where you look up and you're like, man, he's got 18 and 10, and it's just so methodical as he's able to do it, and he does it with just a physical presence. But in this game especially, I thought John Shire coached a really good game, had that great ATO play after Lindeborg hit the big three, right, to cut it to one and gets the lob for Isaiah Evans. Yep. That was the game right there. And every year, right, Shire's gone up one level, right? Sweet 16, Elite 8, loses last year in the Final Four. So it does feel like Shire's going to get to the national championship game this year. And Cam Boozer, every level, House, he's won a championship. So it would be actually foreign for him to not win the championship. So I think your bet on Duke is a good move.
Yeah, I'm interested in your take. Who's his comp? I'm having a hard time. I asked AI, and AI told me that it was Paolo Banchero, which I was like, really? I don't know if I agree with that. It also said Franz Wagner.
Does AI just watch the Magic?
This is a stupid. Yeah, it's a dumb AI. I don't have the best version, clearly, but I don't think either one of those guys is a comp for me for Boozer. But I don't know who I think. I think Boozer's comp is his father. That's what I would say.
Yeah, right. I mean, it is kind of fascinating because he is a throwback player, but he has the modern twist of the 3-point shot. So I feel like that's why we're all trying to figure out where he fits in, right? Like, is he a Paul Millsap at the next level, like an A+ version of a Paul Millsap? I mean,
that would be great.
Yeah, you can find comps like a David West. I don't know, like somewhere that's like that kind of undersized forward that can bully you in the post, but then also stretch out and hit jump shots. And he's got a better jumper than Paolo Banchero. I would say that's something that we can see
for sure. I mean, his face up is very mature. I mean, it's part of the arsenal. Right away, jumps off the page at you.
Yeah, but right now, if you look future, we'll do a little track to the future here. Michigan is still the favorite to win the national championship, plus 370. Duke is at plus 450, and I'm sure when you got that number, it was even better, right? When
12-1 when I got it. Yeah. I mean, it was at the very beginning of the season, so.
Good move. Good call there. Another big game on Saturday, Arizona, Houston. Arizona have been the darlings of college basketball this year. Obviously, Miami of Ohio, we'll get to them in a second, still undefeated, but Arizona was the Power 4 team that was undefeated for quite some time. They go to Houston, get a nice win there at Houston. Kelvin Sampson's talking about they have no post game to rely on in the half court. Arizona didn't turn the ball over. And that was the story of the game, right, House?
This is the thing with Houston, who I became slightly intrigued by. They went on the road to Iowa State and really handled their business. They were up double digits for quite a bit of the second half, and then it got to be inside the time of the game where you have to win the basketball. It's time to go win the basketball game. There's 6 minutes left. Go through your offense, run your offense. Let's be methodical about it, and let's get high percentage shots. And this Houston team cannot do that. So this observation by their head coach, who I wish would have a remedy for this. It's not. It's the end of February, buddy. It's almost March. You complaining about not having a low post game at this time of the season doesn't portend well for your fortunes. But we see these giant moments where Houston can't score, and that doesn't set up well for 6 games in the tournament.
Yeah, they're a jump shooting team when it comes down to the half court, and Kingston Flemings has been incredible, but they don't have the Jawan Roberts that they had last year, right? That we can just throw it in the post, know we're going to get a good look, and then also if he misses, we got bigs on the board that can get a putback. Joe Tugler, some of those guys. Tugler, that's not his game. Sanak is more finesse than power, so he's not been that option for them. So they're still got a little bit of an identity crisis there, but Arizona, again, without Koa Pete, that was a big win for the Wildcats. I like where they are, but I do feel like everyone's a little bit skittish, right, House, when you see the Arizona on the chest, just because of their pitfalls in the tournament this century. We're a little bit worried about buying into them, right?
Well, the way that they lost these games, when they went on their little downward stretch here, it's like, oh, I remember this Arizona. This is with these guys. They all go collectively cold at the same time. The whole team goes cold at the same time. Next thing you know, they got beat by 8 to 10 points.
Yeah, not good, but I like where they are, and I do feel like right now, just looking at the Final Four, all 3 of those teams we mentioned, Michigan, Duke, Arizona, all have minus odds right now. Michigan minus 150, Duke minus 125, Arizona minus 110. So those are 3 teams that look like Final Four caliber teams, and obviously Houston is in the mix as well. I was at arguably the best game of the day, House, so I wanted to point this out, and you remember Tyus Edney, the full court drive there. Yeah, yes. I mean, that was a great moment. Illinois, UCLA. I was with a UCLA or a Illinois crowd there at UCLA, and a guy behind me was just like, I hope we don't have an Edney moment on our appetizer here. And all of a sudden, there it was. Donovan Dink goes full court and wins that game in OT. Were you watching this, and did you get flashbacks there, House?
I wasn't watching it live. I was thrilled by the replay, but more than anything, I was hoping that it gave Cronin an opportunity to calm the F down. Are
you raising your voice at me?
Take it down a notch. Like, what is the point of bullying a poor kid who's just trying to get some questions in? I just don't understand. Hopefully, it helped him relax a little bit, and he could, maybe have a drink. I don't know. Whatever's necessary for that guy to calm down a smidge.
I saw Mick a few years ago when he first got to LA, and I was asking him about the move to LA, how different it is coming from the Midwest and all that sort of stuff. And he said he had never been to a concert before, and he went to his first concert. I think it was the Beach Boys that he went to. So that's the type of personality you're dealing with. That like this man has never even been to He has no fun.
A grown ass man who never had been to a concert. Yeah. He didn't go to a concert when he's a teenager or a young adult.
No, he's
well, that explains everything.
Strictly basketball. That's what Mick's about. And he was a maniac during that game. Mick Madness is what we're calling it. Last thing, college basketball related before we take another break. Track to the future. Miami of Ohio. I mentioned him before. Travis Steele doing a great job. Former Xavier coach. Now at Miami of Ohio. They are still undefeated. If you go to FanDuel right now, House, yes is plus 104 to finish the season, regular season undefeated. Do you like the odds there? It's at least plus money at this point. If you look at the schedule, they've kind of avoided all the pitfalls, but it's still hard to go undefeated.
It's impossible to go undefeated, but I would buy the ticket because, first of all, I support human achievement. And second of all, because if you have the ticket, then you can look at, what's left on the schedule. There's always a nice hedge possibility out there if you feel like, if anything, catches your eye. But having the ticket in pocket, and then you could say, I bet on this team to go undefeated. I like the bragging rights of it.
Yeah, like 3 weeks ago, it was like plus 850 for them to go undefeated. So the fact that it has moved down to plus 104, there's obviously some value there. And this is a really good team. The fact that people are saying they're not going to make the tournament, I find that a little egregious. I think they'll definitely be in, especially if they finish the regular season undefeated. Even if they're like an 11 seed in Dayton, they deserve to be in the tournament.
That's right.
Yeah, there's no reason not to have them in the dance. So that's what we need for college basketball. That was nice. I like that little college. You did NBA, I did college
Thank
basketball.
you.
Nice
Thank you. I
little,
enjoyed it. You helped
yeah,
me.
a little back and forth there. We're
Yeah.
gonna take one more break. When we come back, we're gonna go back to our sweet spot. We're gonna talk a little golf, get some
Mm.
Genesis reactions, talk about the California swing, also maybe talk Scotty's troubles, some Tiger Woods at Augusta, and just whatever else comes to mind. But one more break, and we'll be back right here on the Ringer Gambling Show. Welcome back to the Ringer Gambling Show. Now the third part of the show, our favorite act. We get to talk some golf. Riviera. Bad weather on Thursday. Tough out here in Los Angeles, but Jacob Bridgman, the Clemson Tiger, ends up winning this one. A lot closer than maybe we thought based on where he was on the leaderboard for quite some time, House, but he was able to get the job done, bouncing back from his troubled waters there at Pebble Beach. Your thoughts on Bridgman and just kind of how the Genesis played out this week?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is that he had made a name for himself, Jacob Bridgman, by playing the 18th hole at Pebble Beach in round 4 in 40 minutes, while the winner of the golf tournament was waiting for his opportunity to finish that hole so he could have an opportunity to birdie. That's Colin Morikawa. But Bridgman, to his credit, showed up at Riviera and absolutely put on a ball striking display that was unparalleled. He finished number 1 in strokes gained, ball striking, that is approach, and he also finished number 1 strokes gained putting. If you're number 1 in those two categories, you usually win the golf tournament, and that's what he did. The crazy thing is, and it reminds you, for a first-time winner, how hard it is. He walked into his Sunday round with a 6-stroke lead and ended up winning by only 1 stroke. And the reason for that is because golf is hard. And, he had his last birdie of the day was on the 3rd hole. But to his credit, he held on down the stretch, saved par on 17, saved par on 16 with a knee knock, no, say bogey on 16 with a knee knocker, and then managed to par in on 18. I had to make a putt that was more than 3 feet. But, his ability to take advantage of that rain that you talked about, he hit the ball. His proximity to the hole was great all week long. And then he converted it. He validated every one of those great approach shots with a putt. That's how you beat a tremendous field, a signature event level field, a field that had Scotty Scheffler in it, a field that had Rory McIlroy, who was his playing partner for that last round. And to stare those guys in the face and go ahead and take the thing down, it was impressive, Tate.
Yeah, playing next to Rory. Rory makes that long birdie putt on 18, which, he said it was worth $600,000, so kudos to him. But he didn't seem too pressed about the fact that he thought that Bridgman was going to be able to finish it out. But again, he didn't make it easy there with that last putt. And we watched Akshay at the Pebble, at AT&T last week struggle after he got up to a 5-shot lead. So it's never easy to get the job done. It's also a nice story, right? Got her up, Bridgman, 2 guys that were Corn Ferry guys that are friends that are now winners on the PGA Tour. So a lot of good storylines. One storyline I want to get your thoughts on, Scotty's trouble on Thursdays. This is, if you look at his last 3 events, right, he's like plus 15 on Thursdays. He's like minus 22 on Sundays. So there is a stark contrast from how he starts to how he finishes. What have you seen from Scotty that you think has given him these problems? I saw on Thursday when he started out, he 3-putts the first hole of the par 5, which is supposed to be a gimme birdie, and then he kind of is off to the races from there, struggling to find the fairway, find greens in regulation. Is there one thing you can point to as far as Scotty's struggles?
No. I mean, you can go back into the numbers and find that there is definitely some putting variance there, and I wonder if he has previously said that he likes putting on the POA surfaces that are common to the California swing, the type of grass on the greens at Torrey Pines, at Pebble Beach, right, at Riviera, but for whatever reason, he's able to find his way over the course of the tournament. Now he's been putting on that same surface each week, but that doesn't explain the inaccuracy from the fairway. That doesn't explain the inaccuracy off the tee on Thursday. So there's something there, probably routine wise, that he will land upon what the explanation is. It did this week create for him too big of a deficit to continue his top 10 streak and his top 5 streak. Both of those came to an end this week. He was in record tying or record breaking territory with a top 10 streak. He had 18 consecutive, and he was slowly creeping up on a Tiger record, but he didn't get there. So he'll just have to start anew. He's taking off this week, but they are in Florida for the Florida swing, and we'll see if he picks up where he left off.
Yeah, he'll be in Bay Hill, and he's made 68 straight cuts, and he was able. I was there on Friday, saw him make the cut, make that putt on 18. So that was encouraging that he was, found a way to birdie 17, make that putt on 18 to make the cut, so he can go for the 69th straight cut there at Bay Hill at Arnie's tournament. So a lot of great events that are happening right now on the PGA Tour, going from Hogan's Alley down there to Arnie's tournament. So Scotty's all over the place. Amazing. Last thing, golf related, Tiger. He had Nance grilling him on Augusta National, and he was doing his best to play coy, but it does seem like he's putting it out there that he has interest, at least, in trying to play at Augusta. How much are you buying this, and how much do you think this is more of a pipe dream versus reality?
I 1,000% buy it. I buy the idea that he is definitely trying, that he's trying to get his body into shape, that he will find an opportunity to play. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he plays a senior event where he can be in a cart.
We'll tune up.
Yes, where he can, because there's only 3 rounds in most of the senior events. They don't play 4 rounds.
And he gets a cart.
And he gets a cart. So the challenge for him at Augusta is walking 4 rounds. And what he's putting at stake is his own record in terms of making the cut at Augusta. Now, he could extend that. I mean, I think he's either in a tie right now for consecutive cuts made, or he is one. He's one of one at the top. But if he's physically, it's all up to him. It's his decision to make, and we won't have any insight into whether he's physically capable of it unless he plays in a tune-up kind of event. But if he says he's going to try, he's going to try. I mean, that's the one thing that he's shown us. If he's physically capable of giving it a go, he will.
Yeah, and I would love to see him on the Champions Tour going up against, VJ, Ernie Els, that group of guys. I'm a nostalgic guy, House. I like to see those guys match up. And I'm
throwbacks.
Sure, they'll be licking their chops to see Tiger Woods, out there listed as one of the guys they're going up against, I'm sure. Last thing before we get out of here, let's do our best bets for Tuesday night. We're going to flip back to the NBA. What do you like on the board, House?
Yeah, I'm combining. We talked about the Cavaliers and the Celtics. I like the Cavaliers at home against the Knicks. We're doing a money line parlay here, just a little 2-teamer. We're going to take the Cavs at home against the Knicks and the Celtics on the road at that depleted Phoenix Suns. That is available right now at plus 121 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Something plus 125, 121. It's in that neighborhood. Nice plus money parlay for your Tuesday night.
I like that. Circling back to what we talked about before at the NBA, and there's some value there. Get some plus money. I'm going to stick in the NBA as well. I'm going to go with the Raptors money line over the Thunder. Thunder, just the team right now without SGA, without J-Dub. I just feel like, they're kind of cruise controlling right now, and you can get the Raptors plus 112. But SGA needs to get back if he wants to try to win MVP. So we'll see about that. But I like this Raptors team. So
that's a market to keep an eye on. I like this bet because it is kind of a referendum game for the Raptors, where they are like the junior Thunder. Like, they really modeled their player personnel this season and their style of play after the Oklahoma City, a team that gets out, runs, tries to score in transition, tries to score by turning over the opposing team. So let's see the mini Thunder against the mature Thunder. Let's see what, even though the Thunder are a little depleted, I get it. I mean, no J-Dub, no Shea, but still.
Yeah.
It's a good one. I like it. I like it, Tater.
It's a copycat league, and who knows? Maybe the Thunder are trying to entice, a homegrown kid from Canada to maybe go back to Toronto. I don't know. We'll see what that looks like. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a future we look at one day. House, you're the man. Thanks so much for joining the show. This has been a lot of fun. I'm glad we get to do this. I hope we can. I like
Tuesdays.
Yeah, Tuesdays
you and
fun.
Me.
Finally, this is we got to call Bill up and make sure this can happen again. But thanks to everybody for tuning into the Ringer Gambling Show. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate you hanging out with us, and we will see you tomorrow.
You must be 21 or older and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPENY in New York. For Louisiana, call 1-877-770-7867.